Welcome to another episode of the Skadoo's Lounge. With me today is Loops. He is a member of the 3-5. I believe they're the Marine Corps, right? The Marine Corps Discord group. So it's gonna be kind of different. This is the first time I've had somebody from I don't know if we'd call you guys rivals or not. Regardless, we'll get into all that. What's up, Luke?
Yeah, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? I'm glad to be on. It was really cool meeting you the other day and in those pubs. So yeah, man, I'm glad to be here. It's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that was cool. I felt really one of the coolest people I've met on a random game in a long time. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
granted
for
we did
sure.
have a third party with Otter and shit, but it was still cool, with it being that randomish.
Yeah. As I just joined on Otter's White Chat, I'm like, I wonder how she's doing because I remember she took a long break last year because she had the kiddos and everything. So we've been trying to play a lot more, lately. Yeah, but it ended up being a funny ass squad. Just you 508 boys are always a good time. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad,
for
man.
sure. So tell us a little bit about your group, man, and what you guys are all about, what the community's like, how you found them, how you got into them.
Oh yeah, man. Well, 3-5 is great. It's definitely one of the best up and coming teams to be a part of. I've only been part of 3-5 since January, like early January, January 5th or something like that. But man, yeah, the guys are a lot of fun. It's in 3-5. It's honestly crazy because when I first started playing Hella Loose, that was like the team to beat for our level. Because when I first joined, I joined 4AD, and that was the end of last February. So I remember we used to scrim 3-5, and we used to also scrim you guys, and that would always be pretty much our schedule was scrimming 508, 101A, and 3-5. And the games against 508 and 101A were always scrappy, but then 3-5, it's like we'd always get shit on, always get shit on. But then
Yeah, they're next
eventually,
level.
yeah, eventually we got to the point where we actually started beating them a couple times. So now it's like, but now that I'm playing at 3-5, it's crazy. I mean,
And
it's
now is 4AD still up and active?
no, sadly not. So the thing with
So
4AD
tell us about
was,
how that all went down. Break that all down
yeah,
for us.
yeah. I mean, there's going to be a whole lot of different opinions based on which side of the aisle you were on. So essentially, 4AD was at a time where signups were getting rough. We couldn't field guys. We had to cancel scrims, and leadership decided to merge with BZRK. And so when you hear about the merge, there's a lot of conflicting people. It's people are pretty much completely anti-merge or completely pro-merge. So I was on the pro-merge
Right.
side, and I still am. Yeah. And essentially, what happened was just, there was a hot spark in the beginning. We kind of, we were winning some scrims and winning some, games in, what was it, Winter Wars. And I think we had a pretty decent summit run. We made it to the quarterfinals and then, eventually had to play Legion. So we obviously got bounced immediately. But eventually there was just a lot of toxicity that was spreading, on both sides, on the, the quote unquote OG 4AD and the OG BZRK side. And from then it was pretty much just a ticking time bomb, and at that point I was in leadership and we were trying, but then there was just, a lot of internal fighting and bickering. And, listen, I think it really had the potential to be something great, but, not everything's meant to be. So eventually it all came crumbling down. And then when it comes to 4AD itself, a lot of the guys like Bull Shrink and Grunt, they stayed on and they held in at that point, which was like January. I left. And then, yeah, but 4AD now is pretty much just a casual gaming community. The server's kind of dead. I wish it wasn't because there's still a lot of like the OG friends on there. But yeah, when it comes to the old Fourth Armor division, that's where it's at right now, man. Sadly.
And so you ended up finding the 3-5, and now were they your first? You said Berserk after you left Berserk. What happened with that? You just went to the 3-5, or did you try out? Did you know Matt at a couple different locations, or
Yeah, so obviously since we were scrimming with 3-5 a lot, and 3-5 always has guys online. Any server you go on, especially after server browser, you're always going to see those clan tags. But
oh yeah,
I was becoming close with a lot of 3-5 guys through scrimming them, and like, oh, we would talk about the scrim, like, oh, you guys had a really good recon, whatever, just bullshitting, and personalities ended up clicking. And for me, it was either going to be WRTB or 3-5 because I love the WRTB boys, especially Breezy, Apache Garrison, really cool guys. And at the time, I was working night shifts, so it would have been perfect to play European times. But then I ended up
right.
going back on days, and also it wasn't just that. There was a point where, like I said, when BZRK was, we had so many people that just weren't active, and it got to a point where I was playing with more 3-5 guys than anybody else. Just casually. One of my best friends in this game, Deathface, he ended up leaving 4AD, even when 4AD was still kind of at its peak. But he decided it was the best move for him, and we stayed in touch. There was no hard feelings. So I met a lot of 3-5 guys through him, and then eventually. it got to a point where I was pretty much just only playing with 3-5 guys, and I was still wearing the BZRK tags. So
Right.
for me, it was just like I wanted a fresh start. The leadership thing was kind of it got to a point where it was killing me, and I'm like, listen, we're busy, we all have lives. I'm like, I don't need all this stress when I get the hell out of work, and I want to start fresh and just have fun. So I ripped the band-aid
Right.
off, left Berserk, and then ended up going with 3-5. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough, rigorous process they have to kind of get going.
Why don't you enlighten us a little bit about that? Because I know you guys. I know that they've got requirements and expectations and all this shit. So what are? But I've never dug into it. What are they?
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty much honestly, it's not even as hard as it seems, but it's just kind of stressful. And some guys love it because they're like, some guys are like, oh, I know I'm good enough. I don't have to do all these like certifications. But it's also not just for like the hard cold numbers, right? It's not just, oh, get X amount of kills or X amount of combat score. It's like, yeah, no, they want to see you perform. But it's also about, getting to know the guys. Because a lot of people, they just see the word certification, and they're like, oh shit, this is like a cold hard thing. Which, yes, of course, they want you to do well. And essentially, the way it's organized is if you want more playing time, then you're going to have to excel during those like, trial phases or whatever you want to call it. And the better you do, the more you perform, the more you show up, the more chances they give you during scrims and things like that. Then that's where they essentially decide where they want to put you. Okay, if you do really well, then you're going to be put in the A team essentially for the comp roster. So you pretty much kind of forge your own path. Like we have casual guys
Right.
in 3-5 that are here just for the fun, and they love it. And once in a while we'll prioritize them for like a mashup scrim night, with like a couple random clans. Like, so it's a really cool thing. But also, yeah, when it comes to the comp, it's like, listen, for these 90 minutes, we're gonna just fucking lock in, and no bullshit. We're just gonna lock in for this 90 minutes, and then the second it's over, we're constructive during our debriefs and all that, and it's really, we all really want to win. It's something that we take seriously.
Of
But then at
course.
the same
Yeah.
time, it's yeah, I mean, even from the 4AD perspective, when we were playing 3-5, I always thought it was like this crazy hard, like, oh my God, 3-5, those guys are probably just psychopaths about the game. But no, it's like these guys are just normal guys, but they just know how to lock in and become an absolute killer unit once it comes to that 90 minutes. So that's what really makes me like love this team. Honestly, it's such a blast playing there.
Is there anything that is there anything else that really draws you to like the community aspect? Not necessarily the gaming of like winning or but like the guys themselves. Do you guys do like meet and greets? Do you guys do like a spotlight? Do you guys like have drink nights or whatever? Beer Saturdays or whatever. Sipping
Yeah,
Saturdays
yeah.
is what they call them.
So yeah, well, there's once in a while, there's guys that'll be pretty active in the voice calls, or if we'll be watching a stream of a game that's going on, but it'll just be guys like the game will be on in the background, and the guys are just shooting the shit, and you'll pretty much get what you put into it. If you're active in the Discord and you're chatting around and you're hopping in different people's squads and random matches, then you're gonna meet a lot of really cool guys. And so far, I've liked everybody I've met. I met personalities from all over the country, and it's if you because I embraced it. I mean, I was nervous. 4AD slash BZRK was like the only team I was part of for almost it was like 11 months, pretty much almost a full year. So
Yeah.
obviously, I had the core group of guys at 3-5 that I knew, but there's still hundreds of other people to meet. And yeah, I mean,
Oh
they're
yeah.
everyone's been very welcoming with open arms, and yeah, I mean, it's a great group of guys. They
Are
love
you
to have
guys
fun.
strict?
Yeah.
My apologies. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna
No, no
say, are you
worries.
guys strictly a North American Discord or?
We have I don't think so, but it's pretty much like I think it is. I mean, obviously, just to make sure I would ask leadership, but it's pretty much, these are it's an NA server, and if like you can't make the times, and probably you probably won't be on the comp
Oh,
team type
okay.
of
Okay.
thing. Because
Okay.
I know we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
had people
Yeah.
from Europe. I think we currently do. So, if your work schedule gets to a time where you can play at 9 p.m. on, Eastern Standard Time, then I don't see why not if you're a good player and you want to win. So I'm pretty sure
Right.
that's how it boils down to, yeah.
Fair enough. Now, have you always been a first-person shooter, or has it just are you just like a all-around gamer, or?
Mostly, I mean, COD has definitely been like the number one game of my life, I would say. Like Black Ops 2 back in the day, MW2, the OG MW2, and Black Ops 2 especially, like in middle school, you couldn't get me off that damn game. But I've always liked playing FIFA and NHL. And I mean, now the games I play is pretty much I go around the carousel. I play a little bit of GTA or I'll play some F1 because I like racing. I'm a big fan of Formula One. I'll play FIFA
Really?
Pro Clubs with my friends. We'll play hockey. So I pretty much just go around the carousel, and I think it's healthy because obviously with Hello
Oh
Loose
yeah.
and comp, it's really like it takes up a lot of our heads, and we especially when you want to win that bad, and it's like a lot of emotional stress. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely it's important to get those other games in to kind of de-stress and just have fun once in a while.
So you're the first person I've ever heard talk about Formula One. What draws you to Formula One? Like, why do you enjoy that over other racing games like Dirt or fucking Need for Speed or
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I honestly, I just had the wrong conception of what racing was for my entire life because I only knew NASCAR, and I was like, oh, they just drive in circles. That's stupid. Which now is like, I know that's not true. Like, I want to go to a NASCAR race ASAP. I don't watch NASCAR. I pretty much only watch Formula One. But there's the show on Netflix called Drive to Survive. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I've not, but you said it's on Netflix?
Yeah, yeah, it's on Netflix, and they started it. I think the first season was 2018, and it's pretty much shows like all the behind the scenes, all like the politics. You have drivers that switch teams and everything. It's all the money behind
Right,
Formula
right.
One. It's crazy. So a lot of those OG Formula One fans will be like, "Oh, you're just a Drive to Survive fan." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I don't give a fuck. I own it. I know I'm new to the sport,
Right.
but I just absolutely fell in love with racing, and I have a bunch of my buddies that love it too. So we have a whole group chat where we just talk wheel, and yeah, we absolutely love it. It's great. Watch the races together, stay up. I mean, just last Saturday the race was in Japan, and on the East Coast, the race is at 1 a.m. So I stayed up and I watched the
Right.
whole damn race. So
Who won?
sadly, Max Verstappen on the Red Bull.
Sadly, so that ain't your guy.
No, no, I'm a Ferrari fan, so I want the red
Okay.
car to go fast. But sadly, yeah, no, the red car's not going fast this season so far.
What made you want to be a Ferrari guy? Like is that like a team? I'm sorry, I don't know much about Formula
Yeah,
One.
yeah, yeah. So most of the teams, not most of the teams, but the teams will be based off car brands, or so you'll have
Okay,
Ferrari,
okay,
you have
okay.
Mercedes, you have McLaren. Obviously,
They're
Red
not
Bull
like
is in the
sponsors?
no. Well, that's pretty much the team name. So it's like
That's
Ferrari.
oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah, so the team name is Scuderia Ferrari, and then obviously they have other sponsors, but that is the team name.
Right, right.
And like Mercedes is like Mercedes, AMG, Petronas, and then their sponsors and all that stuff.
Okay, well, yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, so Ferrari's always has been my dream car growing up. When I was a little kid, I loved the Enzo. The Ferrari Enzo was like my favorite car. And for the longest time, like the 812 Superfast has been my favorite car. I just always love. I've always been the guy that was like fighting my friends, like that Ferrari was better than Lamborghini because everybody loves Lamborghini, but I was always like, nah, fuck that. I want
Right,
a
right.
Ferrari.
So now do you have you ever thought about doing it yourself? Like not obviously probably not at that level, but do you cruise around fastly?
I mean, maybe when I get more funds, I'll be able to get a fast car. But I just turned
No, I feel that.
24. I'm just doing my thing. But yeah, I mean, I do want to go karting. There's some good tracks around, and me and my friends have talked about it. So definitely something I would want to do. Get in the go karts and race each other. That'd definitely be a lot of fun because I love playing the game, but obviously you can't beat getting that adrenaline. Doing it yourself. Yeah.
No, I mean obviously you kind of led into what you another one of your hobbies, but what are some other things that you do outside of gaming?
Yeah, gaming, man, pretty much. I'm pretty simple. I just hang out with my family a lot. I got the Irish heritage, so we're pretty much just very big on family, and I got like 1,000 cousins. Big with hanging out with the family, with the friends. Just I like to just kind of, I'm pretty simple, man. Just have a few beers once in a while. Read a book. I like, I'm not
What
huge
kind of
on
books do you
shows.
enjoy?
I read a lot of, I mean, mostly nonfiction. Honestly, I like reading like Jocko Willink stuff and David Goggins. Their books
Oh,
are
okay, okay.
awesome. Yeah, and also even fiction.
Motivational, inspirational.
Yeah, like that stuff is cool. I mean, just like the stories these guys have are just absolutely nuts. 'Cause I'm a big history guy as well, so I love like getting their takes on actually what happened and all that shit. It's things that we can't even imagine, especially me because I'm a civilian. So I'm not in the military. Just getting these guys' stories is awesome.
What type of when's your favorite time in history? Your favorite time period, sorry.
Ooh, favorite time period, man. I mean, I don't know.
Like,
I guess the hella loosened me. World War II is just so, World War II was just crazy. I mean, even if it's dark, it's fucked up. I mean, the amount of people that died in general, it's crazy. But just the fact that literally, like, you know, we had our boys storm the beaches of Normandy. You had guys that are 18 years old fucking putting everything on the
Oh,
line, just to save the world pretty much. It's like, World War II,
yeah.
honestly, yeah, it's just so fascinating. Just the large scale of it, the technology increasing, the types of combat deployment. Yeah, I mean, honestly, World War II is just insane.
Fair enough. I can dig that. I can dig that. So
Yeah.
what do you mind me asking, like, what part of the country do you live in? Are you like Northeast, Southeast, Midwest? Fucking,
Yeah, I'm no,
what do
I'm
you do for work?
northeast. Yeah, I'm northeast, bro. Yeah, I mean, so I've applied to multiple fire departments. Just took those tests, so I'm pretty much just waiting to see, if I get invited to the physical tests. So I gotta hope I
Nice.
scored well. Yeah, so that's been the dream pretty much since I was a kid. But now, I'm just
Yeah,
working
tell us
security. Yeah, I'm just working security, pay the bills. I get decent amount of overtime, so I always have some spare change in my pocket. Yeah, man, just grinding. Enjoying my youth, pretty much. Just praying to God I get
what's
those
the
fire department.
process? What's the process for the fire department like to be in, like, what made you want to do, and what would you want to do in the fire department? You trying to be like a hose holder, or are you trying to be like the dude that goes in afterwards for the uh the fucking investigation, or what's
Yeah,
your end
yeah.
game with that?
No, I mean, I've always wanted to. So I was actually a volunteer fireman for a little while. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I did all this crazy stuff. I'm from a small town, so I never really got a chance to get into any crazy fires or anything. Um, but even before that, when I was a kid, I have, big Irish family, and in the Northeast, a lot of Irish people are cops and firemen. So I saw a lot of family members that were, first responders, and I absolutely fell in love with the fire department. Just the camaraderie that the guys have. It's a great culture. It really is it's like the truest form of brotherhood. I mean, you don't get that outside of the military and firemen and police and all those types of jobs. So I
Right,
saw the
agreed.
camaraderie that those guys have for each other, and I've always been like a guy's guy, so I'm like, oh, this is definitely, for me. And volunteering was great. I enjoyed it, but now now I'm ready to do it full time and get paid for it. So
Yeah,
that's
fuck
the
yeah.
goal.
You might as get paid for this shit. That's what I'm always saying. Like, if you're gonna be doing some crazy shit, you might as at least get paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, volunteers are on. People don't know it, but vast majority of the country is volunteer. I think it's like 75 or something like that percent, because majority of America isn't big cities. It's small towns. So you
Right.
can't pay all those small town guys. Majority of firemen out there in this country are all doing it for
Interesting.
pretty much zero or very very little pay, if that. So you
I
know
did not know that till just now. That's wild.
yeah. Yeah, man, it's a great culture. Like I said, the brotherhood, having the meals together, having the drills and trainings, and yeah, man, it's the culture that I've always wanted to be a part of. I've had no doubts since I was pretty much like 7 years old. So that's
Well,
what I'm looking forward to.
fingers crossed for you, brother. I hope that you get through that process and it's above board and everything works out for you there. Now, the other day when we were
Thanks.
talking in game, you had said something where you said you were first generation or second generation from the island.
Yes, so the Emerald Isle. So my father came from Ireland, and then my mother's parents both came from Ireland and met here in America. So second generation on my mom's side and first on my dad's.
Hey, have you been? You got to go, right? Was you talking about you, or you were heading there or getting ready to go?
Yeah, so I've been there a bunch throughout my life when I was a kid and when I've gotten older, but it's been a while now. So I'm hoping on going sometime this fall or winter. I've been talking to my cousins over there. We've been trying to, I gotta get over there because I've only pretty much been around the area where my family is from over there. So I want to go see the rest of
And
the
where are they from
country.
exactly?
They're from Kerry, so like the southwest, the west of
Harry,
Ireland.
hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the kingdom we call it, carry the kingdom. So, but I want to see the rest of the country. There's so much to offer. Galway is a lot of fun for like younger people, and Dublin. We're not big fans of Dublin, but a lot of the historical
Oh
sites they have
God.
there, and like the Guinness factory, even the Jameson factory. So that'd be cool to have a nice little day there. But I
Yeah,
want
for
to see the
sure.
actual. I want to see more of the countryside. Even go up north to Belfast and Derry. And just see a lot of the history. That's really what I want to do.
Yeah, the history's rich over there. I have no doubt about that. I would love to go there for a while myself. You being that not that far away from them, generational wise, I'm sure you've heard some shit about. What's your opinion on that whole situation with Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic and all that shit?
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah, the troubles and the civil wars, a lot of bad
Yeah, yeah,
times,
yeah.
a lot of ugly times over there. Both sides have done terrible things, but in my opinion, I'm a proud Irish Republican. I just want them to to get the hell out of the North so we just have a unified Ireland, man. I'm no shame when I say that. That's all I want, and I pray to God I get to see that in my lifetime. That's that'd be one of the probably one would be like a top 5 day of my life. That's all I
Oh
want to
yeah,
see
for
personally.
sure. We were also talking about some of the music. What's some of the music that you enjoy from that the whole time there?
Oh yeah, we're talking about like our favorite Rebel songs and stuff. Oh yeah, I
Yeah, the
mean,
favorite Rebel songs and shit.
oh, of course, the classics, the "Go On Home, British Soldiers," the "Come Out, You Black and Tans." Those are some like the
Uh-huh.
faster, like the rough songs that everyone's screaming at a bar. But yeah, I mean that's one thing I've loved about my family being so close to the heritage is because that's I've been listening to those songs like my whole life. So that music and that culture has been very close to me and very close to the people around here. So honestly, I'm very lucky and blessed, and I'm glad that I've gotten to have that.
So is your area that you live in, without asking, getting too specific, you're mostly with like Irish Americans and shit like that?
Yeah, yeah, it depends. Well, I'm in the Northeast, I mean, I'm it's pretty, around here you'll get a lot of like Irish areas, you'll get a lot of Italian areas, a lot of Polish
Right,
areas.
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some places that are literally called like Little Ireland and shit, or Little fucking, Little
Oh
Italy,
yeah,
little
yeah, like
fucking,
Woodlawn, New
whole
York.
areas.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Woodlawn, New York, not too far from me is that's called Little Ireland. I mean, and I spent a lot of weekends there growing up for family events and parties, and it's an amazing thing to see. You get the authentic Irish candies and sodas and everything over there.
Mm-hmm.
You hear people with the accent, like they've been in this country for like 25 years and they still sound like they just got off the boat. So it's definitely a good
It's
area.
good stuff.
Yeah, very rich with like, culture and history. Yeah, man,
Are there
it's a very
any
proud thing.
Irish, what are some Irish specific foods that, like, people wouldn't, really, I don't think anybody, you don't really, what are some Irish foods?
Yeah, well, I mean, you
Like
don't really go to
homebred
Ireland for the
Irish
food.
foods.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even for me, I'm Irish as hell. That's pretty much the only
You
blood I
don't go
have.
there for the food.
Yeah, you don't go there for the food. Listen, it's not like the food is terrible. But you're gonna get like a lot of home, like kind of hearty meals. Like meals you get on a farm. Just like a lot of meat.
Fucking stew and shit.
Yeah, just stew, potatoes, vegetables, like just simple sandwiches. They love Indian food over there. It's not my thing personally, but like if you go to Ireland and like England and like Scotland, those places, they like go nuts for Indian food. So apparently, like the Indian restaurants over there are nuts.
Damn.
And obviously everywhere you'll find, if you go out of your way, you'll find a good little restaurant. But the thing over there that's big is like the dairy, like the milk you get from the cows, like the butter, even like you could have like a plain ass piece of brown bread, excuse me. But just
Mhm.
that like local ass, fresh ass butter that you can never find anywhere else, like it makes it, taste like, like the world's best piece of bread. So it's like those small little things that kind of make you happy, like, great little pastry shops, the fresh cream. It's just like, you know, you can't beat it. And obviously the Guinness over there. Once you have the
Yeah,
Guinness in
that's
Ireland, you can't have it again for here for a while. It took me a couple years to really start enjoying pints of Guinness here again after I was in Ireland. So
I had my first one not long ago, bro. I started like a little review on my YouTube, like a little side channel for it, and started doing Guinnesses. I'm gonna work my way around, and then hopefully when I get over there, it'll be,
yeah, you
I
gotta
hear
find the
that's the
best pint.
holy grail of Guinness.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I really want to go to the Guinness factory in Dublin and like get it just straight from the source.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't
that would,
imagine.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like an art form. The pint of I call it the pint of the black stuff. But I mean, yeah, and especially you'll have like some super snobby. I mean, I'm not super snobby about it. I mean, to a normal person, I probably sound super snobby about it, but you'll have some guys in like the New York area or even like the Boston area where they'll only order Guinness at certain pubs because that's like the only place that'll pour it right, or whatever. So it's a cool little kind of like a little artifact that we have is a fucking beer.
Yeah, there's
It's
like a
pretty
whole
fun to be
head
Irish.
factor, ain't it? There's like a whole head factor, and you've got to let it settle, and like
Yep.
there's like a whole fucking scientific
Oh yeah.
breakdown of.
You have the right angle, then you gotta let it settle. And obviously, of course, you gotta try to split the G the first sip.
Yeah, dude, I always try to, and I've so far, well, I've only had so far as there's three reviews that I've done, so I've only technically had five of them, and four of them I overshot it, and my fifth one I undershot it. But it takes practice. I feel like in the cup, if the cup's bigger, you got to take it. From what I understand, four gulps, three gulps, whatever, whatever. But it is what it is. I'll get there. Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It also depends what level of drunk you are, because at a certain point, you're like you don't even remember what pint you're at, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot the G, and then you realize you pretty much chugged the whole thing, and you're like, oh shit, I overshot. So I say it's better to overshoot than undershoot, if I'm being honest. So yeah.
Touche. I like your explanation better. I got called an alcoholic for doing it, but
No,
I
no,
think
no, no.
cover shooting's
We're
always
just
the
having a good
better way to
time.
go.
That's all it is. You're just having a good time.
So, where do you see yourself, man, in five years or so? Do you still think you're gonna be playing games and hanging out on Hella Loose with your boys, and
Yeah, I
obviously
mean,
having fires by then, I hope.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope the friends that I've built in this community so far, I really hope that those relationships stick, and I'm very confident that many of them will. I've already met with another buddy of mine in 3-5 who was with me like in the OG 4AD days, Blue Chew. I met with him last summer. We had like a couple of drinks and lunch because he was in the area, so that was cool. Really awesome guy. And yeah, so I mean, I've already made plans to meet people at sports games and everything. Hopefully this summer. I'm a big baseball guy myself, and so yeah, man, I'm confident that if we just keep our community strong and we don't let the game die out for as long as possible. I know people like to be all doom and gloom when it comes to Hell at Loose specifically, but as long as we have these communities together, then people will still be playing other games together. Besides just Hell at Loose, and yeah, I mean, I'm confident that I'll be keeping a lot of these same friends for the future.
Do you plan on always living here, like in America, or do you ever plan on going back to the motherland?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, my ultimate goal would be to have enough money to where I could have a house over there as well, so I could just always have a
Yeah,
place to
dual
be if I want to
citizenship
get the
and
hell
shit.
out of here. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I want to travel the world. That's what I want to see as many places as possible. Life is too short, I think, to be too stingy and kind of like, listen, if I want to do something, most of the time I'm just gonna do it regardless of if my bank account likes it or not. So yeah, man, my goal is to be at a place where I can comfortably just travel and see as much shit as possible with with my friends and family. That's pretty much it, man.
Wait 1 second, I'm dying. What would you say if you could leave tomorrow, get on a plane tomorrow, infinite amount of money? Where would you go?
Italy.
Where?
I would say probably Italy.
Really? Why?
Italy. I mean, everybody I've asked, they've said that Italy's their favorite country they've been to. From the food, which is Italian food is my favorite food, to the nature, to the cities, and all that stuff. I want to go to Sicily and just look at the water. Have an old school Italian guy give me some espresso. That's all I want. I think I'd be super happy with that.
So is that your favorite food then? Italian? Is that what
Oh,
I'm getting?
1000%, 1000%. Yeah. I mean, I like all types of food, but if I'm on death row and they said you got to pick one meal, it's gonna be something Italian, something that ends in a vowel, probably. Yeah, guarantee it.
That was a good one. That was a good one. That's funny. So do you like you big into mob shows and shit too, or
Well, hell yeah, man! Like The Sopranos is one of my favorite shows of all time, if not my favorite. I've seen pretty much all the best movies, like Goodfellas. I mean, the Goodfellas is probably like a top five favorite movie of all time. I love all that stuff. It's like I like those old school types of things, and those shows
oh
really
yeah, for
captured
sure.
that really well.
I wish there would be more stuff. Like it was crazy. I didn't even know for the longest time. We were actually just talking about this the other day. I think it's weird. You've got like the Irish mob, you've got the Italian mob, you've got the Russian mob, you've got what? You got like the
Like the
French mob.
Albanians, yeah,
Albanians are starting to take over like a motherfucker, bro. They
bro,
are
they got everything.
everywhere. Yep, and they're apparently, like I say, they're apparently, from what I've been reading and stuff, they're the top. They're the top guys these days.
Yeah, I think like pretty much they've like monopolized the entire like drug trade in Europe. Like they got everything. So I mean,
Now, since you know a little bit about that, it's cool. I can actually have a conversation about it. So, do you think that they got they basically were able to do all that because those countries in the Baltics were fucking at war throughout the 80s and the 90s and all those fucking, mass genocides and mass fucking, moving people from their properties and all the Soviet ammunition and guns and all that shit left over? Do you think that was kind of like
oh, I'm sure.
no
I mean,
law,
it's
obviously, like the political landscape was a fucking joke?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, thieves are gonna thrive. They're always gonna find the best opportunity to strike, and then that's what they did. I mean, it's like it sounds fucked up to say like, yeah, good job, like give them credit, but you got to give them credit. I mean, just like the Italian mob and in the USA, it wouldn't have worked if they all didn't say, listen, we have to organize this thing, and let's create this La Cosa Nostra and like the five families. If they didn't do that, then they would have never have hit the peaks that they hit. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy impressive. I mean, they probably did a lot of. I mean, they definitely did a lot of messed up, shit to get there. But I'm sure they capitalized on every little opportunity they had to, Yeah, all those war torn countries and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm 100% sure of it.
Yeah, but I mean, to get all the way from fucking Albania to, to be a world on the world stage is kind of,
Yeah,
like,
I
I
know
don't
it's
know.
pretty.
It's one thing to capitalize on all your fucking opportunities. It's another to, be cartel level. I mean, fuck, they're probably bigger than cartels over here.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when it comes to the whole European thing, it's just still a lot of stuff that's like I feel like it's unknown. I think they're very good at keeping a low profile, and that was like the problem with the Italian mob is that most guys, they would keep keep themselves low key. But then you had guys like Gotti who were like, pretty much a movie star, walking around in the most expensive suits and, having all the paparazzi on them. And that was a huge downfall, especially with Rico going on. That would pretty much just, take out anybody. And then they got same with the bullet to flip
Giuliani.
on him. I think the Albanians, they probably, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was definitely a long process because as far as I was concerned, I didn't think they had that much power. And then I remember hearing a couple years ago, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Albanians this and Albanians that. And it's like, holy shit, these guys really have monopolized the entire underworld in Europe. It's crazy. It's so impressive, but it's obviously in a fucked up way, but it's very impressive.
Well, that's the same thing I say about secret societies when people are all like, "Oh, the Illuminati and this and that," and I'm like, well, I mean, if if it's a real thing, then what can you do except applaud them, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they've really got their hands in everything and they're running shit, I mean, fucking bravo, golf clap for these motherfuckers, bro. Because I mean, that the level that you have to just, it's insane.
Yeah, well, those like secret societies and stuff, for me, it's like I really wonder because people have conspiracies when they started, like after World War II, but like I don't know, who knows? They could have been, or not. I'm not saying that. Obviously, we know of like secret societies before that, but I wonder when that shit really started. Like when did these
Yeah.
people really start getting together and all these international banks and all these international, companies and powerhouses? Like that's what really gets me. It's like, damn, how long have they actually been doing this shit for? Like controlling everything. That's what trips
Oh,
me out.
here's that, and I'll tell you the one thing that will always fuck me up for no matter how long I live, dude, is everything you know now. I mean, essentially not, maybe not everything but most of the shit the wars that have came, like World War I, World War II, everything after World War I, essentially. Everything that came after Archduke Ferdinand got killed, bro,
Yep.
over a ham sandwich or whatever the fuck it was. The assassination attempt failed. They originally went off track. Dude's on his way home, stops at a deli to get a ham and Swiss, and the motherfucker pulls outside, walks out, dumps it in the Duke and his wife, and the rest is history. Welcome to fucking 2025.
Yeah, honestly. And there was like some like young fucking like college age kid, I'm pretty sure too. Like
A Serbian dude, he was a Serbian, bro. It was a Serbian rebel.
yeah.
I can't remember if they were like for the communists or the fascists. I don't know what like his political thing was. All I know is he literally set the stage for the next fucking 100 years, literally.
Yeah, well cuz
Because
Archduke
out of World War,
Ferdinand, yeah, I believe he was like Austria Hungary. I forgot like what his, but there was a lot of.
I think he was Austrian Hungarian or whatever
Yeah, so
too.
those
I think that's
exactly.
right.
So those countries were warring at each other for centuries, pretty much. Those Balkan countries, it's been going on for such a long time, and they didn't like how Archduke Ferdinand was kind of like driving around, and they're like, "Yo, fuck you," like we don't like
Right,
you,
right, right.
like what are you doing,
I
man?
understand. Like we were talking about that the other day. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
Oh, a hundred
At the
percent.
at the same time, like that one man's assassination led to like, most of the bullshit that started in the Middle East with like, we
Yep.
won't go into specifics at the moment because everything that's going on, I ain't trying to get taken down.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
so it's just insane to think about little shit like that, man. That's what freaks me out. It's like, is it all staged? Is it, how did we know that dude wasn't a part of like some deep, deep fucking Illuminati shit?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I
The
don't know.
Vatican Church is fucking wild too, bro. They got all kinds of wild fucking
Oh,
things going
100%.
on there.
100%. And I'm a proud fucking Catholic. And I'm like, yo, I really wonder what they got in there. Like alien shit. Like who knows? Who fucking knows, dude?
Right, it's like, why wouldn't they just tell us, like, fuck?
Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe it's same thing like when people say like, oh, but what if the government didn't know about UFOs and aliens and this and that? But it's like, well, if they really told everybody the truth, like, how would people react? If they really knew about some crazy shit going on, or would that cause the world to just burn down of just chaos and panic? Like, You never know.
You never know, but I have a feel like, for instance, like, if you found out tomorrow that, religion was bullshit, you wouldn't just go on a killing spree because because Catholicism no longer stands, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, 100%.
I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think there's more good people. I would
Yeah,
like to
I
think,
agree.
I mean, I highly doubt it, but
Yeah, I agree, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's like we were mentioning before. It's sometimes we only know what they want us to know, type of thing too. So it's a little, it's
it's
kind of
fucked up.
it's a scary thought. Yeah, it's a scary thought.
It's like that, you ever seen that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio called, Don't Look Up or some shit?
I don't think so. I mean, I love Leo, honestly, but I do have to
I
watch a
think
lot of his. I have not seen a lot of his movies.
I think it's on Netflix too, bro, but it's about, or it might be Hulu. It's about this big asteroids coming to Earth, and obviously only a few people know about it, yada, yada, yada. They didn't want to ensue panic. And then there's this really rich motherfucker, bro, like an Elon Musk in the movie. And he was like, I'm going to send robots up there and mine the minerals and shit out of this asteroid. And while I'm mining it, it'll break apart and it'll miss Earth, right? Well, obviously it all fails and the fucking asteroid still hits Earth, but it's just crazy, like that type of shit that happens like that. And we won't hear about it until it misses us. Then you'll see on a Google side fucking news article a week later, like fucking 10-mile long asteroid just missed Earth. Well, holy shit.
Yeah, space is like the
Thanks,
fucking.
NASA.
Yeah, thanks, NASA. Yeah, space is. I don't know, man. A lot of suspect shit, but for me, even I'm honestly the shit that trips me up the most is that we know more about space than our own damn ocean.
See, I'm glad you led into that, man. I was literally about to ask you what freaks you out more, space or the ocean,
Oh,
and
yeah, the
you
ocean.
went into it. I didn't have to ask. Good shit.
Yeah, dude, the ocean, bro. I mean, I love going to the beach. I love hopping in, the waves. It's great. But it's like, am I gonna do some deep sea diving at 2 o'clock in the morning? Hell the fuck no, Like get the hell out of
Uh-uh.
here. Daytime and I'm good. But yeah, I don't know. There's so much shit out. I mean, it's like I feel like they find a new like species of fish like every fucking month. It's like, dude, we have no clue. The fucking megalodon could still be out there for all we damn know.
That is kind of interesting. I wonder why they went straight from let's get the fuck off of the planet. Like, let's see what's off the planet before we fully just. Because I mean, dude, there's caves. There's all kinds of shit that we haven't even just like even came close to figuring out yet.
Oh yeah, bro. Even like Antarctica. That's the one that
Oh
like
yeah.
dude, Antarctica is weird, bro. I think there's alien shit all over that place. The fact that countries fought like so many like little secret hidden wars there and stuff that like no one fucking talks about
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know. And even that it's like who the there's so many caverns and stuff and it's a whole damn continent just made of fucking
Yeah,
scary ass ice. Like what are we supposed to do there?
right, dude. That's one of my. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. You ever heard of Admiral Richard E. Byrd?
Maybe. I feel like I probably heard someone on Rogan talking about that. Talking
Oh
about it.
yeah, you definitely did. You definitely did. This motherfucker, somebody's definitely talked about this on Joe Rogan, I have no doubt. But he was a dude that he was the first guy to fly from the North to the South Pole. And like he's got his diary got released by I want to say it was his grandson or something like that. But dude, there's all kinds of crazy shit with that. He was there's an interview you can watch on YouTube, man. It was like one of the back in the old days when it was black and white, obviously, and
Yeah.
it was, I just highly recommend people to watch that interview. I want to say it was like the Soptic or I can't, I'm not even going to try to butcher it, but regardless, he talks about land down there bigger than the United States, bro, that hasn't even been touched yet.
Yeah.
I just think that, I think it's weird that you got Donald Trump and these motherfuckers talking about taking Greenland for resources, and yet we've got an entire continent down there rich in minerals and stuff, but everybody's saying we can't touch it. I just find that weird. And nobody wants to touch it. How many countries have that treaty where it's like, we're not going to do shit with it? Except
Yeah.
some scientists down there. That's weird.
Yeah, exactly. All those scientists, and it's like, I mean, who knows? These countries, who knows who's working together down there and what they've already found, and I don't know, man. It's yeah, I don't
They're
know.
like the
It's
only whistleblowers we never hear about. Like, what I mean? You hear about whistleblowers everywhere else. Fucking Snowden with the technology,
yep,
fucking Elon, fucking Bill, all these people. What the fuck's going on down in Antarctica? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Where's those?
yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah. I mean, they probably just get tossed in the ice. The second they try to, the second people think they're suspect. Who knows?
Yeah, touche. What's your favorite, or I wouldn't say your favorite. What conspiracy theory has intrigued you the most over the years?
Ooh, man. I mean, I'm a pretty I like conspiracies. I'm not a guy that really lets conspiracies, like, run my life type of thing, but I
Right, right,
love
right,
learning
right.
about them, because some guys are just, like, all they talk about, it's like, fuck it's like, "Alright, dude, relax." Like, I'm just trying to buy, like, a cheeseburger. I don't care about whatever the fucking you're talking about, Like, but
Cheeseburger.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, some guy would be like, onions are actually alien." I'm like, "Dude, I don't care. They could be fucking alien,
Right.
whatever." But, oh, man, I mean, JFK has always been a cheeky one.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, JFK. I mean, now with the files, they're kind of getting released, but also like it's not really finding shit. And a lot of like these new videos that are being released of that makes it look like the driver shot JFK. And that was
Yeah, that
something that,
shit's insane too.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if, I feel like I've already seen those videos multiple times, like on Twitter and Instagram or whatever. Like they popped up in my feed a lot. So, and they have a lot of likes and a lot of interaction, So, but at the same time, yeah, it could have been the
I
driver,
just
but
feel
who was
I
behind
just
that?
feel like the driver thing though, like, you know what I mean? How many people were out there? I honestly don't know anything about the shit except my personal belief is that Lyndon B. Johnson, obviously had a huge hand in it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he was definitely on board, but I don't think he's like the sole guy that wanted it. I think there was a lot
No,
of
no, 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 no. I'm not saying that either. It was definitely him in the intelligence community, the CIA or
yeah.
whoever the fuck else was over there. But
Oh, of course,
he
because
definitely sent the green light. He was the one that okayed it. They definitely didn't just bypass him and Kennedy just to kill Kennedy.
oh yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm
You
all
know,
on board with the multiple shooters. I think there's no way there was one shooter, Lee Harvey. All no way. I think that maybe not the driver, but a lot of witness testimony from that time too. Think they heard shots from coming from different directions. A couple bullets like hit the street that like people just weren't talking about. It's a lot of it's fun. It's creepy, but it's like holy shit, man! Like they fucking got a president. It's nuts.
hell yeah. Damn it, I
What
was gonna
about
ask
you?
you something, man, and it slipped. I was literally, I had one more thing I was gonna ask you. My favorite one's definitely either Antarctica or JFK.
Yeah.
Because with the whole JFK thing, bro, he was trying to get us, pretty much not to be all up in Vietnam's ass. And after he
Yep.
died, it was pretty much the meat grinder for the boys. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Also, the Federal Reserve too. He wasn't a big fan of the idea of the Federal
hell
Reserve,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden,
That's what I'm saying.
then Lyndon B. Johnson pretty much immediately says, "Up, Federal Reserve, here you go." It's like, a little weird, a little weird.
It's all about the money, man, and that's what really I don't understand. That's one thing that's always intrigued me, I guess, is how the fuck the banks did it, bro. Like, how the fuck did you go and make like they just started printing shit and saying this is worth this amount of money, blah 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 blah, and now we just print it off, and like we don't personally, but I
Yeah,
just don't understand how the central banks did it, man. I applaud them for doing it because they run every country in the world, but
yeah,
god damn.
yeah. It's crazy. It's a real like a real mind fuck. 'Cause It's not something that they're really teaching you in school growing up. It's the stuff you got to find out on your
No,
own.
of course not. And that's what I'm saying. It's all, dude, a lot of the times if you look at the wars, bro, you start seeing like who was funding which side and shit. You start seeing like a lot of it's like the Rothschilds versus some other, like the Vanderbilt or something. Not really, but
Yeah,
for
some like
the sake of
family name.
arguing
Yeah,
examples, yeah, it's like, bro, so it's like, the fuck have we been doing, man? All the
yeah.
way back up, you start looking at like the French and the British and all this shit, man, it just gets really fucking weird. You start following the money
Oh yeah,
and you had all of these motherfuckers were intermarrying and fucking cousins and all this shit. Like their bloodlines up there, bro, are not I still don't think they've ever really quote unquote been tainted. So it's like, how the fuck have I don't know, bro. I got a lot of questions, that's for sure.
yeah. It's like all those ancient like traditions and stuff. Too. Even like the Egyptians is crazy, bro. And like even you go back to like fucking like all like the temples and like the what do they call it, the megaliths and stuff that were built like in different parts of the
Yeah.
world. So like these people weren't talking to each other. They didn't fucking and they all decided. And at one point in history, those shits were just built all around the world. Even like the fucking like the ancient floods and stuff like that. Not everyone believes in, but it's like even then though you have tribes and whatever the hell, this ancient civilizations from all different continents talking about great floods happening and, like the earth
Oh
like blowing
yeah.
up and shit. Like, they all have the pretty much like very similar stories about it, man. It's trippy. It's trippy as hell.
Yeah, I definitely think a couple of the things in the Bible have definitely happened. I just think it's the interpreted story type of shit. You know what I mean?
Oh
Do
yeah,
I
now
think
listen,
that
there's arguments for
Noah was
both
the only
sides.
survivor? I highly doubt it. But hell yeah, it's a great story that one dude fucking.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, this is arguments. You can see it from any side. You know, I'm not even talking from a religious standpoint. Just like
Yeah,
even just
no,
like just like
yeah.
cataclysmic events in the earth that like these random tribes in like Africa and then South America and Europe and all these like different cultures, and they all have similar stories about certain events that happen and aliens and shit coming down. Like, you know, like what the fuck? Like, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I don't think we're the most advanced. I think we've de-evolved somewhere along the lines. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, granted, we've got some cool shit, go to space, blah 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 blah. But like, I think we de-evolved from like our knowledge of in the planet, like our energy and all that crazy shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty big on. I like the aliens. You know, like the Bob Lazar story. I'm pretty much. I believe his story. I'm like fairly confident that he's telling the truth.
Who's?
Bob Lazar.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah. Sorry. If you said his name, I must not have caught his name. I just heard you start talking about something else.
Yeah, no, yeah, Bob Lazar. You know, he was on Rogan. He had those. I rewatched that podcast like once or twice a year. It's just so nuts. And then all the government was saying like, no, this guy's lying. He's bullshitting. But then like, no, but like he's on record being at that facility at that time. Like we know he was a government employee. We know he, you know. And then he's coming out, and then you know he whistle blew, and then they're calling him a crazy person. But it's like, well, we know he was there. I don't know, man. Like UFOs and shit. I think that's real,
I'll tell
honestly.
you what though, he did something for his life, bro. There ain't no way he lived this long and and was able to keep his life like that. That's what I was gonna say earlier. When they killed Oswald for killing Kennedy. I feel like every time they're involved heavy, but the motherfuckers never make it to the courtroom. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
either get killed by a crazy man or they die in their cell randomly, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why that's fun. The Oswald story. That's when, like, when it comes to like the JFK thing, I think it's like, yeah, I think everybody was in on it. I think the mob, the FBI, the CIA, and
Hmm.
LB Lyndon B. Johnson, everybody, because Jack Ruby was a mobster, you know, and then I think they had shit on him, and they were like, "Yo, you got to kill Oswald, you know, right now. You got to do it, you know." Like I think that was part of the plan. Like you got to do it, or like we're gonna kill you and your family. So I think that's why
Right.
he and you know he was a gangster. He was connected with that stuff. So I think that's why that's partially why like the mob claims credit for like you know the assassination and like I mean they all have claims. You could pretty much make an argument for all those factions or you know whatever you want to call them. So it's all connected.
Good word
It's
for him.
crazy.
Factions. I mean, shit, that's a good word.
Yeah, you know teams or whatever the hell whatever you want to call them.
Alrighty, man. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you. I would like to have you come back a few times and talk conspiracies and shit, though, if we can get that worked out sometime.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm down to talk about whatever. You know, play hella loose, and then just we'll think of some topic ideas. And yeah, man, this is this is a lot of fun. I'll definitely be down.
Yeah, I'm glad you had fun because I mean, I did not expect you to jump on board as fast as you did, but as soon as I asked you, buddy, you're like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I was like, all right, let's do it then.
Yeah,
So
man.
it
It
was
didn't
good.
take
I'm
long.
glad. I appreciate that.
And
Yeah, I
like I said,
appreciate that.
yeah, I mean, every time I see a 508 clan tag, I know it's going to be a fun time in that lobby. So, you know, we got along with you guys really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
like
my good friends are there. You know, Goober's there. I know. I think Luthrower went to 508. You know, obviously Otter, like we were talking about, and you know, amongst many more. So yeah, you know, I look forward to play with you guys a lot more for sure.
Yeah, well, make sure you spread this to your 3-5 friends, man. Let them know that if any of them ever want to come on and talk, that they've got the floor whenever they want it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, bro. We gotta, you know, grow this community that you're starting here, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah, appreciate you being a part of it, Luce, man. Yeah, well, I'll get at you after we get off of here, and we'll discuss about you getting back on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all take it easy.